FM.
So, welcome along to another episode of the podcast. And today I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by a very special guest. He's an American Paralympian in wheelchair racing, and his name is Daniel Romanchuk. Welcome along, Daniel.
Thanks for having me.
That's all right. So I do kind of start off by mentioning your disability, which is spinal bifida. Um, Would you briefly explain your upbringing with the condition and how your parents navigated through that?
Yeah. So basically, spina bifida is when the spinal column does not correctly during development, and so that the cord exposed. I can kick at the knee, but really nothing below that. And so I've during the first few years of life, it was really kind of figuring out, would I walk? What would that look like? And various things like that. And so I did walk up in 5 years old with braces that came all the way up to my armpits, and also crutches or a walker. But when I was around 5 years old, I had enough of it. I basically it was such labor intense process getting into all of that stuff, and it trying to move things that are almost as heavy as you are. Yeah, by the time I would walk from the car to the store, or maybe the library, I was already tired. And one misstep in the store or whatever, and down goes the leaning tower of Daniel, crashing onto the floor. And so yeah, around 5 years old, I was like, I just want to use a chair. It's much easier, effective, and just like I figured that was the best way to go.
But and before we get into your education a little bit more, um, when you were 2 years old, your mother, I believe, enrolled you into an adaptive sports program.
Yeah,
Was that just your mum trying to get you into sport, or trying to get more of a interactive life, early life, or did you want to get into sport in the first place?
I think yeah, so. I'm the youngest of three, and so the older two, my older two siblings played sports, and so there was really no question I would too. And so, yep, she I got enrolled in the Bennett Blazers Physically Adaptive Sports Program out of Baltimore, Maryland, when I was 2 years old. And so my sport program, and I was, I think, swimming at 3. I was playing I was wheelchair racing, and playing maybe wheelchair basketball at 4, and sled hockey, and all the other sports that they offered. And so I did that all the way up until I pretty much aged out of the program at 18 years old. Um, and so, yeah, got a great multi-sport foundation there at Bennett.
And you went on to meet at 6 years old, a track meet at 6 years old, sorry, with archery, sled hockey, softball, and many others. So how did marathon, how did water racing marathons come along, and when did that sort of become your main sport that you were going to do for the rest of your life?
I don't think it became a main focus until the really probably 2017, 2018, something like that. And so I think my first marathon was, I think I was 14, I believe. Um,
It was.
and at that point, it was just go see, get through it. hopefully, and see if I want to continue pursuing that or not. And so I think it was kind of just the natural progression of the sport. And I had done everything on the track for a while, done some shorter road races for a while, and so I think that was just kind of a natural next step. But really, I never really looked at it, looked at wheelchair racing as too much of really. I knew it was a potential viable career, but I personally never really looked at it as I'm going to do this professionally until maybe 2018 or so when I started to podium and eventually win some of the major marathons.
Fair enough. And I wanted to ask you about the healthcare system. I know in the US we've got a different healthcare system to the UK. So here we have something called the National Health Service, which is free healthcare for all, and then we basically just pay tax that goes towards the NHS to then pay for whatever. But in the US, you've got a system where so as I understand it, you go there, do whatever you need to do, get medication or whatever, and then pay for it. And I just wanted to um sort of understand from your viewpoint how that works with your condition and whether it was expensive when you were a kid or whether you've got used to it now or what's this like over there really.
Yeah, I can't really say too much as far as I think, especially in the early days, that would be more of my parents' question. But yeah, basically you go and receive care, and then at the you have insurance here in the U.S. hopefully, and then insurance will cover part of it, and you'll cover the rest. And there are many possibilities as far as other programs and stuff like that. Um, but the really I kind of think back to Bennett and the because a lot of the sports programs have kind of a closet of full of equipment, sports chairs and things like that people can use or that the athletes can use, and that's really an amazing thing to have because a lot of the sports equipment are very expensive and they're sport specific as well. So it's great to have things like that where you don't have to worry too much about getting the sports equipment, and especially with growing and having to get it every few years when you grow out of it.
That's good to hear because we don't tend to have that sort of thing over here. We just don't have to pay for everything. Um, Growing up, your education, school, college, high school, whatever you want to call it, was it all mainstream schools, education-wise, or did you go to any sort of specially schools or anything?
So I was homeschooled all the way. Actually, all of my siblings and I were homeschooled all the way through to college, and so it was actually one of the really great things for me because that allowed me to travel to meets and things like that, and I could just bring school with me, and so. I wasn't missing days for events and things like that. And I eventually so when I it was in 20 the fall of 2014. My mom had asked me if I wanted to try and make the Rio Paralympic team, and after giving it some thought, I said, you know what, I want to try and go for it. And so we actually got in contact with Adam Bleakney, the head coach out at the University of Illinois wheelchair racing program, and he allowed me to come out and train every once in a while. At first, it was maybe a week every month that my mom and I would make the trip out to Illinois and just stay in a hotel and then drive home. But that the hotels got quite old pretty quickly, and so ended up getting a place out there, and so we could kind of have a little bit more of a home base while we were out there. And grad, I it would increase in frequency and duration until I moved out here. I bought a house in 2019, and so I've been out here ever since. And
Um, and so homeschool, am I right in saying that involves a tutor going to a house, or do you get homeschooled by parents, or how does homeschooling work,
yep.
essentially?
So basically, my mom primarily taught us, everything. And there's also we went to co-ops where basically a bunch of homeschool families would kind of come together, and so and so would teach this subject and another would teach another subject. So my mom actually taught a lot of science and stuff. So um yep, I went all the way up to college with that, and um I when I came out here to Illinois, I was still kind of in high school age, and I started to do some college classes, getting a lot of the prereqs out of the way at a community college here near here, and um, kind of at about that same time, racing started to take off, and I kind of just looked at the opportunity cost of trying to balance racing and trying to get a degree at the same time. And basically said, yeah, it's not worth the opportunity cost. The degree will still be there when I retire or when I can handle taking more classes and things like that. And so also, you don't want a degree to sit for 10 years, and by then who knows how much of everything has changed, and so that's kind of put college and a degree on hold for the moment.
And what's life like outside of sports? What do you tend to get up to in your free time if you tend to have any of that?
Not too much of that.
Uh,
And so a couple things. Recently, last year, got married right before the games. I've also formed a nonprofit, Wheels for Change, and so um, those things kind of are take up whatever time all the time.
we'll touch upon that a little bit later on. But I'm gonna go through your achievements. So, in 2018, you came to London. Came third in the marathon over here. Then you went over to go to Chicago, and the first of the but you were first by 1 second, I believe. And then of course in New York, you were the first youngest winner. And then in 2019, you won in Boston, youngest winner, and uh, the first US winner since '93. What else have we got? 2019, London, first again, and then again in Chicago. So, with all the marathon, you must be really pleased with that, especially when you started doing the London Marathon and then doing other marathons throughout the years. You must be pretty pleased of how you placed and how your performances have done.
Things have gone very well. I think coming from getting a solid foundation at Bennett, and having being here out at Illinois, they've just sharpened the skills, and absolutely very happy with how things are.
And then you mentioned you went on to Rio, and then when it came to Tokyo during the pandemic, you got the bronze medal. Well, I've put down here 2020 and then I'm putting buckets 21. I don't know what year to use. So there you go. And then you came second in London in 2022 with a 2 second difference between first and second. And then with um 2020, you had the gold in the 400 meters. Then 2024, you had the 500 meters gold. Bronze in Paris last year, 400 meters. And then Dubai, 800 meters in 2019 at the Worlds before COVID. And then way before that, the first um, oh yeah, the Power World Racing 2015 inaugural competition. And then you did that in the TS4 classification. Um, so with all the Paralympic stuff and then of course Paris as well. Again, do you tend to um have a do you tend to put in where you hope you might place before? Do you tend to have some sort of expectations towards you what you want to get out of these, or do you just tend to just go for it and see what happens?
So I try to view the course whenever I can, get out and drive the course, or look at how as much of it as I can. Um, beforehand and just get an eye on the road conditions and things like that. And so I'll kind of try and make a little bit of a plan. I'll know who's there and kind of make a plan on what I want to do and what I might think might happen and um kind of just make a plan A, B, C, all of the various plans. But really one thing that racing has taught me is that after that gun goes off, you don't know what's going to happen, and your plan is going to have to change in some way you weren't expecting.
Um, so how did you get spotted in the first place? Because you mentioned your coach early on, was it that he spotted you, or did you or your mum go to him? How did that sort of relationship come about in the first place?
Oh, that's going back going back a
Okay.
little bit.
All right.
And I think that they had Adam had seen me a little bit before then at a couple different places, um but I I am trying to I don't really remember that far back,
Okay, that's
but
fine. I don't expect you to remember your birth either, so
But yeah, but I remember in 2016 the first games, so we have trials here, which basically every classification and event has a standard, um and basically it went off of percentage of standard that you achieved at that event. And so basically you have to perform well at trials. And so I think I was one of the last people on the list, but I was on there.
and how did that then go on to being selected for Rio, Tokyo, Paris, hopefully LA in 3 years' time? So the coach recommended you, or was it through your events that you run and they sort of,
It's
oh, Daniel, do you want to?
It's all on performance.
Okay.
In general, all on performance. There's a few. There's a handful of discretionary spots where basically, if you were sick or had a technical issue at trials, they have a little bit of space to say, okay, you didn't perform, as well, but we know that you have history or potential, and so they have a little bit of room to kind of pick various people. But other than that, it's basically just all on your performance at the trials, and so you got to get a high percentage of your standard.
Yeah, throughout the timings, first, second, third, the time, and then because we have something over here called talent pathways. So if you're talented enough, then you then so yeah. Um
Okay.
and the I wanted to slightly I'm just going through the messages that I've been given because I've been told that there's a certain way we need to go about this. Um, so you are of Ukrainian descent, through your your father's grandparents, and immigrated to Canada. But you did help out in the war, when it broke out a few years ago. And was it to help disabled individuals relocate to other countries?
So yeah, so during the beginning of the war, I helped donated to Johnny and Friends, which is an organization that typically does like wheelchair distributions and things like that. But they were helping to get people out of Ukraine and out of active war zone areas, and so I helped out there a little bit. And I also I have we have some friends who actually adopted a kid from Ukraine as well, and that got a little bit delayed by the start of the war, as well. But they were able to go and get them out.
Yeah, yeah, because I got sent that bit, and I thought that was that's actually quite a nice thing to do. So, on that. But again, as they mentioned, that your main focus is on your non-profit organisation, Wheels for Change, and that your first partner was, I love the name, Go Get Them. I just love that. So tell us a bit about how the charity came to existence and what is it that you do. But I looked at your website and it looks pretty cool. But I'm sure you can plug it in yourself better than I could.
So, Wheels for Change basically started. My mom and I were kind of just batting ideas back and forth on just how can we help the sport and increase access and things like that. And so we asked some local sports programs kind of heads, and kind of just what are you seeing, what are the needs and of programs and things like that, um and then Wheels for Change was born. And so it's basically got kind of three branches. There is the Rolling Start, which is aimed at school age kids who may be looking to get into the sport. And so, if you have someone in middle school, I'm not sure uh, the age they would be, or the level that they would be over there. I know things are a little bit different, but um, if you have a kid who wants to get into the sports, then it takes it can take many months to get a chair, and they're also not cheap. And so basically, the rolling start is we'll have a clause yeah, sorry, a short-term loan equipment loan closet where we have various chairs of various sizes. And so if we get a request from someone who wants to get into the sport, we can basically send them a chair to get them going while they work out the details of getting a chair ordered and doing the fundraising and all of that stuff. But that just it gets them into the sport without wasting a whole season. And so that's rolling start. Then there's bridging borders, which yep, we work with Raphael out of Ghana with the Go Get 'em wheelchair racing. And so I've gotten to know Raphael over many years at this point. He'll come over to various races in the U.S. and um, so I've gotten to know him and the program that he runs there. And so we'll basically provide equipment and training opportunities for them over there, and it is primarily aimed um, at locations that have not historically produced wheelchair racing athletes before. And so the third branch is the Knowledge Hub, which is basically just a knowledge hub. It's just a lot of information on chair maintenance and how to use the chairs and things like that. Because it does no good to just send somebody a chair if they don't know what's going on.
Um, you mentioned a season, and I was just wondering how, because we have a different way of looking into a season. For example, football over here, you call soccer, uh, but it's September to May. Over in the America, the US Soccer League, they do it February, March to October, November. Um, uh, what is the what stage does the season start and end for wheelchair racing? Because I know there's some kind of timetable schedule.
Yep. And so I can't necessarily say for schools and stuff like that, and when they have meets, but for me, we'll pretty much start. Our first competitions are in late February, early March, and go all the way to mid late November sometimes.
And then you get the lovely cold winter months, sort of for you to wrap up warm and get ready.
Yeah.
And then with Rules for Change, are you looking to kind of, because I know you've got the Ghana company that you partnered up with, but is Rules for Change looking for maybe a sort of like another partnership in another country elsewhere? Or, what's the sort of idea there? Are you looking to expand into other countries with wheelchair racing?
Eventually, hopefully, yes. We're kind of always kind of looking at things and looking at opportunities and kind of seeing where things can go.
Yeah. Um, and you mentioned a bit about you were married just before the Paris Games. You must have been quite busy during that time then. Get married and then go straight to Paris. Was Paris the sort of honeymoon or something?
It not as much as I think we were we would hope it would be, but it was kind of nice leading into Paris to not just have one thing, not just have the games that are kind of all consuming,
Yeah.
as far as like all that I'm thinking about. And so it is really really nice to kind of do things in that way.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on getting married,
Yeah,
by the way.
thank you.
Even though it is like 9 months too late or something. Um, but yeah, I've been following your social media for quite a while. Your Instagram, and then your name just popped up on Facebook. You know how these cookies act when you see something, or when you speak to someone about something, and then it magically appears on your phone, and you're like, "Well," so you're doing really well, and I congratulate you on everything you're doing. Um,
Thank you.
awesome. And there are a couple of questions now. So the going up to the future, I mean, obviously more medals you're hoping for in the near future. Um, but what's the future? I mean, hopefully you'll be selected for your home games in 3 years' time. And obviously you'll be with a greater crowd, home crowd. So hopefully that will push you towards getting that goal, maybe. What's your projections looking like for the next few years leading up to?
Ooh, I'm not sure. Well, I'm certainly, not planning on retiring anytime soon. I'm not really planning that far out yet. Maybe look about take it a year at a time and just, kind of, not get too, not think about too many things, trying to think too far ahead in the schedule. And so kind of, yeah, take it a race at a time.
Yeah. And the last question I've got for you is a question I ask everyone on the podcast. And it always seems to be a similar message, because I know every disability is different, everyone's different, everyone might have a different um, point of view. I wanted to ask you was what tips or advice would you give to other people with the same condition that you have?
I would say figure out what works for you. Yeah, in schooling, in sports or your whatever other, hobbies you have, not everyone doesn't look the same. We don't go about doing things the same way. That's perfectly fine. Just figure out what works best for you.
That's everything I've got written down for you. Um, is there anything that I've not covered that you might want to bring up or anything? Anything you might
Um,
want taken out, maybe?
I think all good.
Good. Brilliant. I mean, it's been lovely seeing you, and I will definitely keep following you on social media and seeing what races you're getting up to, and seeing what sort of successes you're getting up to in the future as well. Thank you so much for coming on, Daniel.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Voice. Let's go. Voice FM.